Let's talk about men and emotions. As a child, you know what I mean? You're told, suck it up, be a man. Women like the strong and silent type. Don't show emotions. That's a feminine thing. No, we have to ask ourselves, is that a detriment? Is that a good thing? Well, let's just sit around and take a look at society as a whole. Now, let me say this before I continue because this is probably going to be the basis for this whole thing. It seems like the only emotion that implicitly is allowed for men is anger. Because for some reason, anger is seen as a masculine trait, you know what I mean? Oh, he gets angry and he does this and he does that, you know what I mean? That means he's strong, man. He's putting his foot down and he's screaming and he's, you know what I'm saying? Don't cry. Don't show any emotion, you know. Now, that sort of a thinking has manifested in all different parts of societies. There's a whole warrior mentality. You know what I mean? A man is supposed to, you know what I mean, beat his chest and howl at the moon. You know. And to a certain extent, okay, I was raised by a single mom, and even that there was, and she didn't overdo it like a lot of people do. A lot of parents do. It's like if you show emotions, they say be a man. See, guys, let me tell you all something. Emotions are there for a reason. It is there to relieve pressure. If something goes wrong, cry. It doesn't matter who is around. If it's going to relieve the tension that you feel inside, then do it. You know what I mean? A weak man wouldn't cry because a weak man would succumb to the social construct of don't show emotions. Now, I'm going to use relationships as an example for this. My dad, I only and I want to tell you what I'm going to tell you this. I only seen him cry one time, and I'll explain to you that one time I saw him cry. But my dad was the angry type. Like I didn't see any other type of emotions but anger come out of that man. You know what I mean? Very rare I saw him smile. Very rare, right? And anger was his main emotion. He would come home, start fights, just be angry with anything. Like I remember one time he was gone for a while because my dad, okay, on the island where I was raised, the policemen lived in barracks. So I didn't see my dad a whole lot, even though he was gone policing. And when he wasn't gone policing, he was gone womanizing. And anytime he came home, the only real emotion I saw was anger. I remember that man got so angry over a wash rag that he started an absolute war in the house. The only emotion is allowed. The only way he could show any kind of feeling was through anger. What about wash rag? That is the result of telling men don't show emotions for anything else in general. Now, a lot of people may say, oh no, we're not telling them not to do that. And to a certain degree, people don't come out and tell men not to do that. But it's done subliminally, you know. Like for instance, okay, here's where that manifests itself a lot too. If you're a nice guy, and I put quotation marks on that, if you're a nice guy and you get emotional about stuff, oh, that's weak. That's weak. Now, nice guys, and I'm considered one of those. I don't get angry very often. I speak my mind, but I don't yell and scream while I do it. I just simply tell people how I feel, nice and calm. And a lot of people take that as weakness because I'm supposed to get angry and put the law down and scream and carry on. And I know people want to say that's not true, but trust me, I'm speaking from experience. That's how it is. I remember, let me tell you this story. I was at work and there was this one girl. She was a supervisor. And a customer did something and was disrespectful. And I just yelled at him and I was like, hey, no, you're not going to do that. And she was like, what? I didn't know you have it in you. You're such a nice guy. I didn't expect you to get, angry and yell like that. So anger is another emotion that when used strategically works. I'm not saying that don't get angry. That's not what I'm saying. But sometimes it's necessary. It's an emotion that's necessary at times to get a point across. It doesn't have to be the only emotion you use to get your point across. And for a lot of men, that's what it is. Now, the same woman that said that and wouldn't give me the time of the day, she's dating dudes that like she told me a story one time that her boyfriend got angry and he went upstairs and got the gun and came downstairs, and he told him like it is. Me, I just go out there and tell them like it is. They walk away. Either way they walk away. But you didn't have to show this big force, oh, I'm a man and I'm going to run out there and just, I got the same results without minus the stress. Because when you do that to people usually retaliate. And then things go in another direction. Now, I'm just talking about the anger there. But as far as men not showing emotion, society tell them that that's a weak thing to do or it's a woman thing to do. And when you get labeled a nice guy, even when you show anger, oh, you're really emotional. But they would take anger from a guy that's labeled a bad boy. They will also take soft emotions from a guy labeled a bad guy because that's not his personality, and there he is nice and soft to me, he must love me. And if a man is doing that intermittently, that's a man that's not being himself. He's not being human. He's not showing emotions. To show emotions is to show human beings. The emotions are there for a reason. Sadness, depression, joy, softness. It's all there for a reason. And we are human beings. And human beings have built-in emotions to serve certain purposes. Like if you're sad and you cry, that relieves all kind of attention. Now, here's the thing about my dad that I said I was going to come back to. The one thing I noticed about him is that man probably cried a lot when he wasn't out in public. The one time I saw that man cry was the day the divorce was happening. He actually cried in public at the courthouse. We were standing on the veranda of the old courthouse, looking out at the street, and he was crying. And it was kind of funny because he's asking himself, oh, why is this happening to me? But too little, too late, brother. You're showing your emotions when it's too late. You're losing everything. You're losing your whole family. A lot of men show emotions when it's too late. The same emotions they told them not to show because it will make them seem feminine. And the sad part about it is, after he showed that little bit of emotions, the next day he went back to being the real man, strong silent type with angry outbursts because that's what society told him. Subconsciously they did. My father was my best role model. Everything he did, I did opposite to it. I'm not saying I'll turn into a blubbering person in front of everybody and stuff like that. But if the emotion is there, I'll show it. And I've noticed that a lot of women are doing the same thing too. They're not going to show emotions, especially if they're single moms, because they're thinking, and especially if they're raising sons, they sort of take on a masculine, let's put that in quotation mark, a masculine role and not show emotions. And usually the fact that they are stifling every other emotion, it comes out in anger. And I see it all the time. I say, be human and show your emotion. Angry when it's necessary, sad when it's called for, mushy. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with being gentle. You don't have to beat your chest and howl at the moon and they call you a red-blooded man, you know what I mean? It could be calm and logical. They say that men are logical and that women don't think logically. I think that's a farce there. I think both genders think logically. But in a lot of the cases, the logic is contingent on the culture that you're raised in. And by the way, let me put this. I don't think the culture matters because look around you, there's a bunch of angry men all over the world. Because all over the world, men aren't given the freedom to show true emotion. I guess there is some cultures that allow that. But in general, suck it up. Be a man. You suck it up, you keep it inside, and then it explodes. I think it's human to show emotions, whether you're male or female. That's what I think. And if you don't show emotions when needed, when necessary, it affects your mental health. Thus, it affects how you treat others, how you are with others. As for me, I think that's one reason why I'm alone all the time, because I could be myself, I could be human when I'm by myself. Because I can't show emotion. Because I'm not allowed to show emotion when I'm not by myself. That's why I said that I thought my dad cried a lot when he was by himself, because that's the only time he could be himself. That's the only time he could be human. Because any other time, and I'm not making excuses for my dad's stupidity, not by a long shot, but I kind of understand. Luckily for me, I was raised by my mom, so she sort of by far and large let me show my emotions. Thus being the only person that was myself around. because I was married for 15 years, and I had to play this part, of a manly man and don't show emotions and stuff like that. And I'll be honest with you, when I got divorced, it was like, no, it could be me. And that's sad. No, I'm not saying that all women are like that. There are people out there that let you be you. But the vast majority of them don't let you be you. They want you to be a caricature. You see the movies and stuff, the bad boy type, the strong, silent type, you know what I mean? Who goes out there and kick tail. They seem to think if you're a nice person, you wouldn't be able to protect your family. And all of this is from my own experience, you know what I'm saying? Because when I do something protective, it takes people by surprise. And then I hear, oh, you're being controlling. So, fellas, listen up. Let your emotions go, man. It's going to relieve the stress. Be human. Which is going to be a reoccurring themes and me just talking. Be human. It's okay to have emotions. It's okay to be emotional sometimes. And come to think of it, right off the cuff, you're just thinking, you're allowed to show emotions for manly stuff. You win a football game and you cry. Oh my God, that's all the emotions and stuff that he's got. If you lose and you cry, you're weak. If your woman leaves you and you cry, you're weak. So you got to stifle it up and, put your chin up and walk out there, you know what I mean? And be strong. While inside you're dying, your mental health is getting totally ripped to shreds because you have to hold everything in. When I got divorced, I didn't cry because it's sad to say it was a relief because then, like I said, I got the opportunity to be me. Got the opportunity to be human. I've been around for a few decades, man, and I'm telling you, I'm saying, let your emotions go. If you're around people who think that that's too feminine, get rid of those people. They're a detriment to you. They're a detriment to your humanity. People want to do what they... Actually, I was about to say people want to do what they're going to do. Nah, people want to do what society tells them to do. I'd rather be a human first than to be a man according to the society. I think I serve a community better that way. And not showing your emotions is an implicit rule with explicit consequences. Let that sink in there.